Here it is, another one. It's been a while too.
Yeah, no, we're off. There's been a lot of distractions since the end of February.
Well, that goes along with the magnetic waves all the time.
Well, yeah, we're hitting. I don't even know. I think we hit 90 in March at one point down here in
Well, I'm
the city.
sure
And
90, huh?
it was 89 on the dash, but that's also probably picking up some engine heat and some road heat. But
Well, a lot of it's what it traps in the windows too, in the sun.
yeah, depending on where the
That's what I
thermostat
bet.
is. And-
But one thing we can all agree on, magnetic fields have been really, really, really freaking weird.
Oh, I've been getting bombarded by solar activity. I don't know if you've been keeping up with Stefan Burns.
Oh, I sure have. I sure have.
We're in for a weird weekend.
Well, I think we're in for more than a weird weekend.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, but yeah. I mean, it's already been a weird year and it's only gonna get weirder.
Anyway, magnetic fields.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they do they just run like your GPS, or do they run every thought that you have every day?
Well, I mean, who's doing the running? Are we running the magnetic field or is the magnetic field running the thought?
Physically, we're doing the running. I travel a lot of distance in my head on the regular at any given point. you know, so this even gets into this.
Well, I mean, it
Zodiac.
stands to reason it would be a little bit of both. You say if you're not writing your own program, then your environment is writing it for you. So like it definitely I think goes both ways.
So I think a lot of uh, zodiacs and things like that, right? We're looking at magnetic fields. That's like what model was printed, right?
Yeah.
That's just so Ford produces 100,000 of this type of car a year. They produce 100,000 Lincolns, right? Well, a Lincoln made in April won't be as technologically advanced as a Lincoln made, at the end of July. They do constant improvements as they go. So they call them
Yeah.
improvements,
Yeah.
right? Now,
Updates. We can call them updates a little more objectively.
well, yeah, or and it's an update's not necessarily the thing. In fact, let's refine that further, okay? Because it's just a modification. It's
Yeah.
neither better nor worse. It's just relative to the way the environment is at the time, right? We're going to roll out some of these with winter tires towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Now, you take this blank wafer, right? It's the best way to describe it. It's a blank wafer. This little magnet, this thing with specific paths carved into it. Okay. And then what do you start doing? You start assigning it things like a name. First thing you got to do is give it a name, right? That name is going to change how it functions.
Yeah.
So the magnetic fields, so like the way a TV works, an old TV, right? You got the tube in there and you got the electricity going through. They got tubes of gases, and then they use magnets to pull those gases up to change color. They do that. That's how it works. Now, when you apply name, okay, don't let me get off track. I'm trying to say that sound, okay, affects the default magnetic waves of a human being who is literally only operating on time, right?
Yeah.
When you first start, the only magnetic field affecting you is you were born on this time at this place, right? Then you give it the name. This now modifies that particular magnetic field considerably.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
You
They,
just
they actually,
you imbue it with its own unique verbal vibration.
for well, yeah, yeah. Now check this out. Let's type in this right here. Um, A study where your name changes the way your face develops,
Really?
right? Yeah. Facial recognition algorithms, match names and faces there. So let's see, let's find one right here. Social experiments. I want to make sure I looked up the right one because there was a whole thing that I checked out at one point in time where they were able to prove. So, say you have a missing child, right?
No.
It's been 30 years. So they're trying to make their algorithms better for guessing what they look like 30 years later.
Hmm.
And the accuracy went clear the fuck up when they started including the name. So we're talking about the same thing with a human. Now, so I'm saying everyone who's called Kyle, their face is going to change throughout their life and grow differently because that constant bombardment of being called Kyle. Right? Now, not every Kyle is going to look alike naturally because they started from a different starting point.
Yeah.
But it could be something as simple as more curvature in the cheek, more, weird things like that that just apply based on this bombardment of sound. I would imagine that, like any wave, that a sound wave actually can cause kinetic damage to cells.
Oh, I mean,
I mean,
Masaru Emoto proved all that with water.
so it affect anything else. So I guarantee it's going to affect the way you listen to a certain type of music your whole life. That's going to affect your magnetic field. These sounds are going to affect everything.
Yeah.
Right now,
Back.
the technology that we're using today, right? What's the number one thing it likes to do?
Data mine.
Well, it does like to data mine, but it's trying to get you to buy something.
Fair.
It's trying to, there's a reason why they're data mining.
Yeah.
It's trying to hook you,
Yeah.
right? Now, the only method that these things could actually hook you is through manipulation. Now, it's way easier to manipulate someone's magnetic field than it is to manipulate them verbally.
Fair.
Way easier. If you go into a restaurant and it's an all you can eat buffet, what are the colors on the walls?
Mhm.
They're like bright red, you know, dragons painted everywhere, bright red. Get in here and get out. Right? You go to a sit down cafe where you order, and then every time you get another beer or another coffee, it's added onto the bill and they give you your total at the end, right?
Yeah.
What color are those places?
Often pastels.
Yeah, earthy, right?
Hmm.
Green, brown, like yeah, greens and browns and all the variations in there. There might be a little bit of yellows on the walls and things like that, vibrant colors on the walls, but there's not enough for it to be the majority. It's not the focal point. That'd be counterproductive.
Cool.
So I'm the reason I'm bringing up these magnetic fields is because you grounding out to that cell phone in your pocket, it's constantly trying to manipulate your magnetic field, right? Just because I theorize this, just because you didn't watch the video that's on your algorithm, right? Doesn't mean it's not still part of your magnetic field because it's something that would be suggested to you through the device that's grounded to you. These thoughts we have, some thoughts you haven't experienced yet, whether you want them or not, are literally on your device waiting to be pulled up.
I feel like there's some correlation with that, like experientially. Like everybody's
Like,
like,
isn't that?
"Oh, I had this conversation and it popped right up." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even say it out loud, and it popped right up." So,
Yeah, so you're gonna have way more telepath. You're gonna have way more intuition and telepathy with your lover than you are anyone else. And now that's not saying it's because you're in love and it's meant to be. You know what I'm saying? That's just a fact of grounding out to each other so many times. You're
yeah.
still on the same magnetic field. I mean, how do we even store data in computer? Magnetic dust, I mean,
Well,
not necessarily. We got solid states and stuff now, but
Well, I mean, and it's all, I mean, relative to, I mean, it's the same with with overcoming habitual behaviors, whether addictive or not. Like the longer you've been entangled in that habitual behavior, like you know, generally the longer it's going to take to rebalance out of it. Like I would say, in my experience, if you've been into something for some years, it's about 90 days before everything starts to get back to normal.
Defining normal,
Yeah,
that's a hard one.
yeah.
So the way that this is described based on technology used by our militaries, right, is next generational non-surgical neurotechnology.
Neuralink?
Neuralink, your cell phone acts this way, your computers are acting this way, your cars are acting this way, right?
Oh,
So it says in 2023, the class actions against Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, and General Motors and Ford
sweet Volkswagen.
were dismissed
Oh,
for collecting your data. But the reason is because it does not meet the statutory inquiry requirements of your privacy, of violating your privacy. You were out in public with your device that Bluetooth to this car. We can get all that data we want. It's public information.
yeah.
So you get what I'm saying? Not that they weren't guilty of doing it, but they aren't under any, there's no crime about it, right? So these magnetic fields are free. They're free for anybody to come up. It doesn't matter how you use it. It doesn't matter if you're using this non-surgical device, right? Like, keep in mind, all our money's going digital too.
Yeah.
Same devices. Part of this whole law thing they're trying to pass with the API for your age on operating systems, right? This is another way to tie the actions of your electronic device to you, right? It's not necessarily, so check it out. Back in the day, Mr. Computer didn't represent me, right? Things can happen on that computer that I didn't tell to do. This is why they were buying drugs on the internet with first computers from MIT, right? The computer ordered those drugs. I didn't order those drugs. This is a way that they can now use a device and put your liability into it, right? Now, here's the scariest thing about that. Once they have manufactured consent, you can remote access those things. But anything that we remotely access through your non surgical neural device was you, right?
Sound like some
You've now
Sky,
assumed liability.
sound like some Skynet for sure.
I mean, shit, it's not only about stealing their money through their phone. It's the same, the same concept of this. You get AI cars, you're a bad guy, then they take you out with that very AI car.
Oh yeah. I think anything after 2007 is supposed to be remotely accessible for cars.
Oh, check this out. Mess up laws. Minnesota just tried to pass this law. They proposed this law. It will be illegal to drive your classic car any day but the weekends and only sun up to sundown.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of arbitrary.
Yeah. And the way they're doing it has something to do with the plates. It has to do with antique plates or farming plate. So they're trying to do something with the plates, the way it's registered. It's pretty messed up, huh? I'm telling
I
you, these are all AI proposed laws. So I've noticed this. I have wrote a bunch of papers for court, my most recent court cases, right?
yeah.
And the two things that I know for a fact that I looked up the definition, okay, online, I looked up the definition. These are two things. I looked up what is a notice to the court, and I looked up the definition of molestation. Okay. And the answers I got are still included in my paperwork. It clearly said a notice to the court is a tool of the court to inform any parties of actions that may be taken against them for this matter. And that's how could it not be that, right?
Right.
You're notifying someone, you're notifying the court Well, if you look it up now, since this AI boom, first thing it says is the notice to the court is when the court tells you you have this court date to come to.
Mhm.
How is that not stealing a tool from your hand? Now, you can't look this up anywhere without that definition coming up. Now, I dare you to try to look up the word molestation and see if it means what it was meaning originally, which was when you are harassing someone to the point that it goes beyond harassment because you're forcing them into your agenda, right? You're forcing an agenda upon them. That is molestation. That's why we have the right to travel unmolested. If you type in molestation right now, it directly says it's act of sexual abuse against someone or a minor.
Yeah, see, and that's
That
that's why there is the designation of sexual molestation versus molestation as it is. So they're trying to manipulate the language for sure.
yeah. So now keep in mind, there's been attorneys right now. It's funny. The first attorney who got busted for using an AI generated thing with the court, right? They make these briefs or they make these claims or they reply. You know what I'm saying? You file a paper and the court has so many days to reply, right?
Mhm.
Well, they do these replies with AI, and the AI's been making up case law to suit their thing, right? It's literally been making it up. Now, these lawyers, they literally take it right from the printer, they sign it, they file it with the court, and then it's proven they used AI and it has fake cases, right? So the first guy who did this, they fined him $30,000, and they did that publicly so other people know, hey, we're gonna find you. Well, it stopped working. Latest that they've got, they're charging them $100,000 each time they do it because it's got that bad already.
I'm not surprised.
I'm telling you, you can't go to court right now. And I guarantee, if you go to court right now, and I'm sure there's people who may be watching this who are dealing with court shit, challenge the authenticity of every paper they file. That was AI generated. Prove it wasn't AI generated. Because there's legislation now that exists. They have to include something that says this was AI assisted.
Does that
Everything does.
does that apply both ways?
Yeah, well, yeah, it should. But now here's the thing. If you have AI generate something and then you read through it like you should be doing,
Yeah.
right? You'll realize the AI is full of shit and it's got some parameters right, but it's all jumbled up in the wrong order. It's suiting, it's like typing in code. You're literally giving it, it's the same way we interpret language. How does our language work in English? We have a series of letters in the alphabet, and you put those letters, each make a sound together, right? And then they have a meaning. Now, in a calligraphy based language, the meaning's right there. I only had to look at it once and I got all the meaning. I didn't have to look at it and go, WAA, okay, that's what this says, right? The data was all right there immediately. So a Chinese computer is going to do things faster than your English computer. It's going to interpret that better. So if the picture you're painting with your words, and remember, they stole our words, is the sole foundation for that which the AI is building for you, we're getting back to spells, right?
Oh yeah.
If you didn't spell it right, for the thing to interpret it right, because it's going to have a flaw in interpretation. I mean, not only do other people have a hard time interpreting what you're trying to say, and this goes for everybody, right? But these computers are going to have a hard time interpreting what you're trying to say. It's worse than a copy of a copy. It's somebody else painting a painting that's completely out of their style that was just thrown on them based on a painting you showed them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it doesn't go both ways because when we look at it, we take it for that value. Unlike what somebody in professional industry is going to do, they're relying on that to get the quick work done fast. They got a big workload. AI that shit, bam, 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 and they're just signing it, accepting the AI smart. Not us, because we're actually trying to prove our point in court. So when you read it, you say, this is jumbled, this is jumbled, this is jumbled, but I like the format. So you take the format and you rewrite your own thing based on what you were trying to get out of AI. You
Yeah.
don't want the answer from AI, right?
No.
You just want a template.
Well, I mean, I do like it to dig for the citations and the references, but you do have to go through and check them all manually. But
Yep, you
it's
gotta
but
cross-reference
still
that.
but still if you can get it to do the search part for you, that still saves an immense amount of time and effort, and it's worth it to go through and check things.
Yeah, so instead of search, the refining process. It gives you something to type in to look up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we all know the public website's Gestia. We should put that on online tools. I'd probably get to it.
Yeah.
Gestia Law, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is. And
Every
also
time I type a paper,
and also people what people need to be aware of is scholar.google. That one's excellent for legal citations and references because you can select the subtopic in that one for specifically case law.
so yeah, I'm gonna have to check that one out. There's a
Really?
lot of things I haven't.
You didn't know about that one? That one's so
Well,
juicy.
the reason I don't is because a lot of times I have the concept of an idea or it's something based on something I've used, right? Like
Hmm.
Haynes versus Turner, I had that memorized. Like what the taxpayer definition is in the Internal Revenue Code, right? These things I have memorized. The codes may change, but then I can look it up and go, I'm looking for a case that pertains to this type of thing, right? Then when I get the case, I literally copy the whole case word for word, and I include a copy in my paperwork at the end. And I always put in my paperwork that I reference this site and attach as a copy. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I'm literally a lot of times I'm looking. You better put that site down there that starts with an S. I already lost it. See, I'm looking
Scholar.google.
at scholar.google. Yeah, okay.
All right, let me do that right now.
Cool, because I literally am looking for a word for word that they have access to and just using it as this is something that the public has access to. This is as good as we can get in trying to defend ourselves with case law, right?
I mean, more or less, yeah.
I mean, they would say go down to the law library and read through all these documents that, we're not even going to take any heed to. You know why they won't take heed to it, right? Because
Well,
it's not what's on the PDF on their computer, and you didn't bring a copy in there with you. That's always important.
I think I'm gonna just go see what the offer is Tuesday, and before I start throwing any more paperwork at them. But I have a lot more done that hasn't been submitted yet.
It's a good way to be. But you do gotta, if you're trying to drag it out too, it's important to let them get the paper, dismiss the paper, even though there's truth in the paper, because that's what they're going to do. You know how they are. Then file another paper immediately. Let them go over the paper, dismiss the paper, file another paper immediately rather than file paper, file paper, file paper, let them dismiss all three at once. There's a process to it. And as long as you so check this out. Here's an example. Okay. You guys didn't have probable cause to do what you're doing. And the court's like, well, we know we didn't have probable cause, but we're not going to say that in court, but we're not going to let you use that as an excuse because we're running the show. So we're going to just keep brushing it under the rug. We're not going to say that was the case, but we're going to say we find enough reason that it doesn't matter. You know how they are.
Yeah,
The next paper you file, you need to continue to mention, right?
everything that was unaddressed.
Everything that was unaddressed, because like if you go to a higher court, you need to be able to present that.
Yeah,
You need to be able to say that you didn't lose what you're going to. In fact, let me open one right now. This is a good one right here. Okay. Anytime that somebody files a motion of summary judgment, right? Your response to the motion of summary judgment always must be this. You need to prove that their alleged uncontroverted facts are in fact controverted, right? You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Is as soon as you say that, because that's what they do. They're going to say, "Oh no, we had a warrant, even though they're in a different address. No, we had a warrant. We're not going to look at it. We're going to brush it under the rug." And you keep saying it, and then when they file their final thing, you say, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Here's proof that it's unaddressed." I've been tooting the horn about this every single time. You guys won't address it.
yeah. That's
Those papers matter.
and at that point, it's not just a happenstance violation of due process. It is a pattern of violation. Yeah, adds layers and layers of standing.
Well, plus if you say that the warrant was wrong and then they ignore you on that in the first case, and then you go through six more cases and then they go to trial and find you guilty, you won't be able to claim that the warrant was wrong to the appeals court. They will literally deny you. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you've been saying every single time the warrant's wrong, the warrant's wrong, the warrant's wrong, and they still do what they do, then when you go to the Supreme Court, you can say, hey, look at everything I filed. Every single time I did not abandon the claim that the warrant was wrong. That way they still have, you know, they're not uncontributed facts.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely have
Anyway,
to.
this is about magnetic fields.
Right. Sidetracked.
uh, yeah, these it's not only these devices because I'm trying to get to this people. So a lot of times, and it comes to relationships mostly. So if you have more telepathy with the person that you're grounded to the most, there's going to be more residual potential thoughts harbored. So check it out. If one of the people has doubt in the relationship, right? That's just like this video that's being projected at you on your algorithm in your device in your pocket you haven't watched for both parties in the magnetic loop,
Yeah.
right? So this is literally going to start casting doubt on both of your thought waves, right?
Oh yeah.
Now, the more you actually have physical contact with other human beings, right? The more it's part of your daily life, the more you're actually going to be storing these thought patterns that exist residually within the community. You're going to have more subconscious manipulation upon your thought patterns just based on this human contact alone. It's just one thing. It's like it's touched. You do a high five, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's that little magnetic jump. Your devices do it, people do it. So if these devices shit, the moon does it.
Well, I mean, that's what brings validity to the astrology, like Stephen Burns was saying, like it, like all this stuff coming off of the sun, all those plasma waves, those are creating circuits between the planets. Like those are all conductive fields.
So the best thing about all that, that's why I like that guy. He breaks it down. He literally goes in this and breaks down why the moon could potentially be a satellite to Saturn.
Yeah. Yes, well,
There's an
thank you for that introduction. He is quite incredible in being able
you
to
know,
explain it all.
I mean, there's a lot of doomsday sayings and things like that, but it's not that. This is what happens every day. People just don't look at it.
Yeah.
You know, and the more you look at it, the more you can piece together other aspects and go, all right, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
As well, so below. You know, the moon's a bad guy. The moon's a real bad guy. Like, I don't want to bring this one up. I tried to say this in mythology, but so Apollo, the god of song and dance, right?
Oh, is that what he is besides the sun?
Well, he's the god of archery, the god of boxing.
Huh.
He's the god of a lot of things. He's the god of song and dance.
Okay.
He's the entertainment god, the god of entertainment. He is Kronos' grandchild. Kronos, Saturn,
Yeah.
the one who castrated his father and ate his children.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
So he's been
Well,
recast as media.
well, so media is actually the format. Media is like radio waves, not the projector of it. Apollo is the projector of it.
Okay.
Media is what you get, but it's the way that media is projected, the song and dance of it, the propaganda aspect. So America's in this big old Cold War with Russia, right? And we're like, hey, let's use the gods we really worship, even though we say they're long since dead. I mean, why else would we invoke that name? We'll make the Apollo program. We'll give them entertainment. We'll win through entertainment, right? No matter how you look at it, the name affects the magnetic field of the whole project.
Yeah.
This applies to everything. So you cannot slap something's name on something and not have that affect the project in the whole. You know, you can't make a cool ship and then slap a name on it and say, this is my Honda. You get what I'm talking about? In it,
Yeah.
or it's going to be affected by that. It's in the sound, it's just like every word we use. The raw data is in that spell. It's affected. Now, who's Artemis? That's Apollo's sister,
Isn't that Diana?
grandchild of Kronos.
Isn't that also AKA Diana?
So I don't know anything about that. I don't
Because
know
Artemis
anything
was
about that.
Greek. I think Diana was the Roman version.
Oh yeah, okay, it could be that.
Yeah.
There is an interchanging one on each one. I just didn't know the name of this of you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I think there's a time in the mythology that Apollo actually leaves, and then Artemis has to cover for him in Delphi, right? Now we have the Artemis program. Way later on, way there, we can't invoke Apollo right now. We'll invoke Artemis.
Hmm.
Apollo's away doing his own thing. Now, you know, there's a lot of shit that goes into mythology that would go into these things, like even the words we use. So hysteria, check it out. You know where hysteria comes from?
I don't recall off the top of my head, but yeah, I've had some reading
It's
on
a
that.
Greek word.
Yeah.
It's the original Greek word for uterus.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I'm trying to remember another one that literally comes from it's goat song. It's a word we use all the time. It comes from goat song. I'll remember it. I'll put an etymology.
I don't know. Fascinate was a Roman one that has very, very unexpected origins.
Tragedy. Tragedy means goat song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it originally comes from Greek words that mean goat. It's the goat song. That's what a tragedy is. You said, yeah, you said fascinate, and then it reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that's what it is. You get what I'm saying though. You cannot play a frequency, okay, audible frequency near small particulates and not have those small particulates affect and change their configuration. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean the same thing with sound, same thing with name. The data is always included in like that's the thing that sucks about it. When you misuse a word, the whole spell is messed up because you have that misused word.
Yeah,
Not because
it throws the symmetry.
yeah, and then your intent, that AI doesn't know the intent anymore. It never did know the intent. It only knew the parameters of the code you're giving it. The human being, though, that you're talking to, if they have empathy, if they exist beyond the default magnetic field, some of them don't, you know?
Many of them.
And I don't think it's that they're not capable of it,
No, I
you
mean,
know?
I feel like there's less and less every day that are stuck in that default, but there are a lot historically.
Well, it's only going to get worse
I think
until it gets better. The only way it gets better, though, right, is a whole lot of things change. And with change comes less people, you know?
traditionally,
Not traditionally, yeah.
traditionally.
I mean, keep in mind, though, when I say people,
How that comes about might be wildly different this time. But traditionally, that is an accurate supposition.
now I'm a firm believer that when something exists in the world, okay, it echoes throughout history
Yeah,
and then comes back in the same fashion on a different wavelength.
yeah.
So where Apollo might have been a real deity, that did the same function, when it comes back around in our project names, I mean, why would you even invoke the name of a false god if they're a false god?
What is it? What is a torus but cycling loops? How far out is the band? That's how long it's going to take before it cycles back around. Like
Well, it's like
that's just
deja vu.
that's just electromagnetic, function and wave theory.
Deja vu could literally be the recognition of, you know what I'm saying, of the similar thing on the other wavelength. Like, does that make any sense?
Oh
So
yeah.
literally, it's quite my theory here is we probably live the same cycle. We just see it different every single time. And we
Well,
call this progress.
and I've had hours long episodes of deja vu where anytime there was action, sensory input, like anything but stillness, it was occurring as it was occurring, but I was experiencing it as a memory. And that was incredibly strange. The only way I even noticed it was because there were some still periods where I had to stop and just be like, is this what is going on? This is incredibly strange. But as soon as everything was still and there was nothing, no action to spur that state, it would stop just for a moment. But as soon as like I started walking again or a car drove by, I'd be like, oh, I remember that happening. It was very bizarre, and it's one that I wouldn't mind revisiting to see if what can be worked there, what use it could have to be in that state.
The importance of partitioning the now, right?
Yeah.
Because the now lasts forever if you make it.
Oh yeah. There is only now, the rest is all projection.
I mean that's entropy at its finest.
Yeah,
It takes more power to watch a clock than it takes to run a clock.
definitely true. Definitely true.
The more power you apply, the slower time goes to that observation. So it's directly proportionate. You know what I'm talking about? The more you're like, shit, I want to leave work. I've only been fuck, I just got to work. I've been here for 1 minute. Only 7 hours and 59 minutes to go.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
What happens when you look at the clock again?
Well, it's same thing for incarcerated people. They're like, oh, I only got 90 days left until I'm out of here. Well, you start thinking like that, and it is the longest 90 days of your life.
Well, people do that often. So it's funny. I had a missionary there telling me, I keep having dreams I'm on a mission. I was like, that's like PTSD. But isn't that the same thing? You develop this thing that you're like, I didn't want to be where I'm at, but I'm doing it for a cause, but I don't want to be there, so I'm justifying why I'm there. So that's the things that build up these habits in life. This is part of your magnetic field. Okay. You're gonna leave a job. Say you're going to college, you're working a job. Okay. Rather than put effort into the job you're working, I went to college for this degree. I'm gonna go get a job that pays for the degree. When in all reality, putting effort in would have paid you the money. Like now keep in mind, I'm not saying that by putting effort into work, you're gonna get paid more. But by putting effort into making more money while you're at work, you'll get more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, mostly. Like, I mean, the way I see it is anytime you just exist with your energy field in a place of abundance, there you get more. When
So if
you're
you're not
less
in a place of
when
abundance,
well
go to one.
well in this Uh, and it gets back to, I mean, there was I can't remember which yogi it was, but there was a story of one of the yogis, one of Ram Dass's stories where they get invited back to this yogi's house, or he invites himself to somebody else's house, and they've got one pot of whatever it was they made, and he tells the person serving it, don't look at it. And so they serve like 45 people out of this one, 8 quart pot. And and it made me correlate the bread and the fishes thing. Well, if you're just busy providing and not giving it the mental attention of quantifying it, then it still hasn't been limited. It hasn't been placed into the confines of monetization essentially. It still exists in that pure place of infinite abundance that is this,
You have to you have to quantify it though. You quantify it as enough for everybody. Did you
the
get what I'm saying? That you get what I'm saying though. You have to
well,
quantify
right,
it. That's why you don't cause.
but if it was just enough for everybody, there wouldn't have been a pot to put back in the fridge. It would have been empty.
Well, I'll give you that. Yeah, there's a little more than enough for everybody.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying that because you're not going to say you're not trying to make infinite. You're trying to supply the needs. It's like having faith in the universe. I like that right there because
Yeah.
it's literally like having faith that it will provide for you, and it does. But every time you put energy
Well,
into proving yourself right or wrong,
I have said it a million times, and I'll say it a million times more. Faith is the most powerful magic of all.
yeah, fuck the leaf though.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. There is a definite distinction that people should be aware of.
And so here's what I look at as faith. Okay. Now, and one time I actually got on to somebody, got into an argument with about faith, and I don't think I was on the side of faith just because it's all relative to perspective. Shit, let's see if I can remember that. We'll get back to what we're going on.
I,
We're
I
going on
actually, I actually,
tangents.
I actually wrote a whole paper on the distinction between faith and belief at one point. I'll have to figure out where that thing went and see if it still exists.
Well, so I'm not looking for a distinction with apples to oranges. What I'm trying to say is what faith is to me. Right? Please, oh, shit. Give me 1 second. Technical difficulties here. Dropping stuff down in the back, trying to find a little screwdriver. Why? Doesn't matter, but it's one of those things. Okay. Faith is not necessarily needing to be backed by a belief. Okay. Faith is your moral compass. So it
Fair.
comes down to this: is there purpose or is there not purpose? Do I have to make the purpose or do I not have to make the purpose? Right? It's simply a fundament of, am I one of the people who still asks why? Or am I someone who makes sure people don't ask why? That might be a bad description of faith, but it's really the moral compass. It's literally because that's the most solid thing you can fall back on. In order to have true faith, like, because most of the time we put faith backed by a belief, right?
Yeah.
You can't be backed by a belief. It's a lie,
Well, and that's what whys are.
right?
That's what whys are. Whys are getting lost in the mental field of belief. Like if you're asking why, it's because you don't believe the faith isn't there and you're looking for a belief.
Well, I mean, I do know the character Y is literally one splitting into two,
Yeah, it's the fork. It's the it's
you
the
know?
it's the oxymoron of are you picking the left path or are you picking the right path? Because both are real depending on what
But
you pick.
check it out. That goes both ways. It can be
Yeah.
two becoming one,
Yeah.
right? So it's all on how you use the lens. Y is definitely a lens.
Mhm.
Now, I still think it's important to
A
ask why,
prism,
right?
a prism, as it were.
Oh, hey, check this out. They've done a study. Now, keep in mind, I like this stuff. I don't know if it's real because obviously it was studies, but they come to find out that a magnetar. Do you know what a magnetar is?
I've
It's
heard the
one of the
term before.
most dense. It's an astronomical term. It's one of the most dense objects there is.
Okay.
Okay, and they send pulses our way. So there's quasars, which are black holes that are projecting light, right? And then even denser than that, it keeps going up and up and up. And magnetar is one of the biggest, heaviest ones out there in space, biggest supermassive objects out there. They've come to find that those things are so dense, they actually cause vacuum to change physical properties, and vacuum acts as a prism. So light that's coming
Wow.
from a magnetar through vacuum, and they've now been able to prove it. you
Wow.
know, using the way that waves refract because they were it was a big this is just recent too. This is just a recent paper.
Yeah,
You know,
you should throw a link of that one up somewhere.
okay, will do,
That
will do.
sounds
I can
that
actually
sounds
find that one easy.
that one sounds crazy cool.
That's probably still on archive right now. The website archive.
Yeah.
So you can probably still find that one on there. But anyway, yeah, we were on before the magnetars. You get why I'm bringing up prisms. Why? Ask them why. You know,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily need to be asking why must I do what I do. Because if you place your why in the wrong spot, you've thrown faith out the window.
Yeah. If you place your Y in the wrong spot, you're only getting blue and you're only getting red. You're not getting the whole spectrum.
But why can still be placed into a positive aspect. When you're using why to find answers, right? Not necessarily why must I do this? Why does this work? Why did, even if you're doing investigative work,
Hmm.
right? Which I'm not saying investigative work to go spy on other human beings for a report to other human beings commercially, you know? I'm talking like the sciences we were just talking about with magnetars,
Yeah.
right? Why is this light signal coming back really, really, really weird from this one spot, right? That's why put in the right spot. And that's getting multiple eyes to look at the thing. And that's definitely turning two into one.
Yeah, that's creating a collective field for sure. Or
So
cohesive
when
field.
before you're 8 years old, every kid goes through a phase and they want to know why. Okay. Now,
Why,
how many
why and how?
times,
Why and how are the two
why
things
and
that
how?
I like to
Yeah.
get to a lot before eight.
Well, why can't you tell them why? Well, because you never learned why, and they basically told you to quit asking why. So you give up on asking why, and then you have these people we're talking about, not individuals. I like individuals. I don't like people. People are the ones who are on the road when you're going anywhere who do stupid shit.
Yeah.
That's people.
I have my daughter asking me why fiber optic things were like put the light through them and out the ends, and I was just like, I know why, but I don't know how to explain that to you at this age. Maybe
Well,
made me realize
the best way to say it,
made me
here's
realize
the best way to say
that
that.
maybe I don't know why myself as well as I thought I did if I can't explain it to somebody who's curious enough to ask.
Light follows the curvature of the singularity. And that fiber optic, that tunnel actually is acting as a singularity, which light is following the curvature of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's literally why. That's the same way that reason the sun rises on the crest of a round object. That's why the light bends around it. Same exact thing. It follows the curvature of the singularity.
All right,
That's
so
the best way I can say it.
you're right. So next step is what's a singularity? I'd have to explain that to her.
Now, that's often debated in science. Now, there's many degrees of singularity,
Yeah.
right? Now, some people say black holes. Some people say because there's computer singularities, right? When your computer hits singularity, you know, your computer knows it all, right? But that's not the same singularity we're talking about when we talk about a black hole. I have to say, singularity is in the definition of the word. It's relative to the object in question.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you ask Ray Kurzweil is when technology and humans become the same thing.
Well, yeah, and that's also part of that. That's so, and that's keep in mind, it's in the word singularity.
Yeah,
We're gonna isolate this thing from everything else,
yeah. Separate.
right?
Yeah,
Now, I did watch that Terrence McKenna interview that you had there. I want to bring this up, okay? Not that I have a problem with the message and all the stuff being said, but I personally believe that the gender bias in words like feminine, right? So we use the divine feminine, and I get where they're coming from, but I'm actually concerned that such words based on reproduction organs, because it is, no matter how you look at it, feminine and masculine, we're based on two conditions of a whole, right? We're talking about a polarity. We don't need to bias the words of the polarity. I'm not trying to be, I'm just saying that in all reality, the way society has conditioned specific words, negative to positive. Well, now we automatically think negative is bad because we called it negative,
right.
right? But really, it's this side and that side.
It's
It's a polarity.
yeah, it's polarity. Is it spinning one direction or is it the other?
So, what I was saying is, I believe that using words as feminine and masculine to describe specific polarities might be counterproductive. It might actually inhibit the full comprehension on a magnetic wavelength or mental wavelength of the singularity in question. You know what I'm saying? The idea is a whole. And when we use the wrong words, like it's like saying sorry when you want to apologize,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I guarantee the person who you said sorry to is like, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I hate when they say that. Why don't you apologize? All you do is say sorry, 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 sorry. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah. Well, if that's the wavelength you want to exist in, is that sorry state? Well, I mean that's on you. Like I'm
Yeah, so I'm not trying to say
I
anything
will, I will,
against
I
it.
will, I will try to bring someone's awareness to the fact that that's miserable self-talk, but I'm not gonna get all upset about it like some people do.
Well, so check it out. I'm talking like in an aspect of if you keep knocking things and breaking things, and then every time you break something, say in a work environment, you keep making more work for me and you say sorry every time. I'm going to be sick of your sorries.
Yeah,
I'm going to want some self responsibility and acknowledgement. That's what I'm getting at.
fair.
But
Fair.
so I'm not saying that it is this. I'm just saying I personally believe the word feminine and the word masculine, right, has so much bias to it. There's like the untrained observer just hearing
Well,
that word
it's been an incredibly programmatically corrupted concept
adulterated,
since at least the 60s, maybe probably since early BCAD threshold really.
so the burqa.
I don't know if you caught some of the posts today. There's some really good ones. Samuel Lee, I think I put it in Did You Know? I don't know. I'll have to go double check.
I'll have to check these out. I want to say this: the burqa. We know what a burqa is, right?
Yeah.
Now, in some nations, the ones that still use the burqa, it's like been used as a tool to control.
Well, the burqa or the haji, they're dependent on which culture. Same things.
Yeah, but it's a tool of control. But in all reality, the origins of this, we all know that, whether we want to see it as real or not, it's the Nephilim. Protect your women from the Nephilim. If the Nephilim can't see them, they won't steal them.
I guess that would make sense why they're so prominent in the Middle East.
Yeah, they literally key exactly. The beings are coming down going, wow, these genetic things we engineered are way better than the nothing we've been getting on this whole travel out here under this military regime.
Right.
Whole lot better. Fuck yeah, I'm starting to harm. That's what I'd say if I was on this fucking galactic military regime. Or I would say this. Fuck that. Give those humans some right, but then they would rebel against me and I would lose, and then I'd be called the devil. It's fucked up. I lose, I protect humanity, and then I lose, and then the victors write history and accuse me of their own deeds.
Now that is some tried and true tactics for millennia. Is the accuser is usually the one who's been up to what they're accusing people of.
I so and keep in mind though that whole face covering thing, we know that is definitely an egotistical control aspect. That is a way of imposing regulations. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
but it's completely beyond the point. So in Viking culture, Valhalla, right? That's crowd control.
yeah.
That's literally population control,
Mhm.
right?
I mean, yeah, and that definitely correlates in an aspect. Yeah.
It's something that doesn't exist anymore. Give them drive to let the new ones thrive, right? Now, some of these principles have been adopted. And this is what I'm saying. I'm only bringing this up because there's a whole lot of hate going on, the things that people don't even understand,
Oh,
right?
ton. Like
You know,
endless division tactics and programming that people are totally oblivious to. Yeah.
well, I'm going to get so there's this shirt that's been going around. It's pretty good. Everyone's all, I ran this, I ran that. But all I know is I ran out of alcohol and the struggle is real. But I'm bringing those two things up because Iran and Israel. Now, the whole thing has been holy wars, right?
Yeah.
This is based on my understanding, based on what I have gathered from propaganda, probably, right? But it's holy wars. Now, if I look into what I think about what religions were and the Nephilim and these beings that were under this militaristic control that are manipulating humans, right? Then I can take some of the principles of this Islamic way they're trying to say anyone who isn't is going to die type. You know what I'm saying? They look at this. Well, this comes in these crowd control principles as well, given by their gods at the time who were fighting other people for land. You know what I'm saying? And then over time, it has been bastardized into such a thing. You get what I'm saying? But literally, no matter how you fucking look at it, these groups of people probably had more religious enslavement. Their deities literally were more present and the stories were more profound to instill this fear than most of the other groups of the world that they're still carrying it on. You know what I'm saying? They had more connection to their deity, be it good or bad, than most of these other peoples who don't even know the face of their father.
Yeah.
That's a fucked up thing to say, but that's literally, they have drive and ideas, even though they're corrupt ideas.
Well, and a lot of that comes from, and a lot of that connection anyway comes from devotion. Like, and it's a very neglected thing in a lot of Western society is devotion to the Father, to the Mother, to the that divine aspect. Like everybody gets so distracted by all the menial, trivial, 3D, nonsensical, garbage and physical stuff that they do not give the time for the devotion that really facilitates and nurtures that connection.
Maybe devotion is a better word than faith because you can devote yourself to the fact that there is a master plan for everything, or you devote yourself to the fact you don't believe there's a master plan. And I say it that way because obviously there's a fucking master plan.
Well, the way I look at it is if there's a consciousness field running through all the physical things on the everywhere and it iterates into living creatures, but it's in all things, then it would be absolutely moronic to think that that conscious field isn't its own individual planner and
Look,
creator.
you
Like
can't
everybody
you
everybody thinks
can't
about it as
believe
Everybody thinks it's a field that they're tapping into and fails to realize that that field has its own fucking opinion and its own plan.
builds. Yeah.
And it's
So
not
no,
just a
you
fit,
can't
it's
believe
not don't belittle it to just a field.
you can't believe there isn't a source. Okay? You
Right.
can't you can not believe, so you can believe there isn't a source, right? And so you get why I'm saying this because one is not true, right? One is true, one is not true the way you say it, right? So you can believe there is no purpose. It's not, I don't believe there's a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Because that's like a negative positive. What you're saying is, I believe there isn't a purpose. When you say, I don't believe there isn't a purpose, you know what I'm saying? Because you cannot believe there is a purpose. You can know there is a purpose.
Yeah.
It's not founded on belief, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I say faith might be the wrong word. Faith might be way the wrong word.
I mean, there's some logic there.
Devotion might be the word. You
There's some
devote
logic
yourself
there.
to what you know. Faith sounds like you're justifying it. So with faith, I believe the Pope when he told me I'm allowed to go rape, murder, and pillage in the Middle East for these crusades with no consequences. With faith, right? Now keep in mind the devoted man will say, these are against my devotion. These principles are against my devotion. I won't let you tell me how to think about Jesus. Fuck you. Right? My devotion is stronger than my faith.
Yeah, no, that correlates. Maybe that is one of the strangleholds on understanding and language that's been pervasive in especially the Western cultures. And yeah, we'll have
Well,
to
if you
we'll have to
can't
we'll have
think
to
it,
stand, we'll have to throw that around with people and see how they feel about it and create a bigger conscious field around it.
look, if you can't verbalize it, you can't think it. So if your words don't exist, so here's the thing about English. I bet you can take any word in English and find another word synonymous to it.
Oh, I mean, I don't think there's anything out there that doesn't have at least multiple ways to express. No, like
And each of those expressions have a more defined value behind them.
yeah, slightly a different tone or hue.
Yeah. So if you really want to cast your spell, make sure if you really want to paint your painting, make sure you use the right colors. I mean, a happy mistake painting, that's cool. It's not a failed painting, but it might not be what you were trying to say. So paint another one. You'll get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Finish the painting now, paint another one.
Indeed. Indeed.
Now, these magnetic fields, the devices and everything you have, keep in mind this I don't even want to say it anymore. There's two fundamental people in the world that are controlling the legal system. Okay, the AI and the dumb humans who use them. Law and Order, Chat GPT. Bum, 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 bum.
I feel like this is an animation that needs created.
No, it was a meme. It was a pretty good meme too. I saw another meme that was not that long ago. It was about an old episode of Twilight where the dude, there was this devil looking machine. He kept putting coins into it and it could give yes or no answers. But the guy got caught up and basically paralyzed and caught with this machine forever. And then right next to it shows a picture, Chat GPT.
So a question I have is how targeted can you advertise like platforms like Instagram and stuff? Like, can I
So
can I
what?
say can I say can I say all Iron County residents that qualify for jury duty?
So now I'm a little confused on this because I was going to say, depending on the device you access these platforms from, will change that. I got a little confused because I guess it does. It does. Okay, it does.
So so
How could
it,
it not?
so hit them with some visual content, mimetic style that exemplifies the arguments that you're going to be bringing. And that way,
You make that a condition,
by the time they get there, they're preconditioned to be like, oh my gosh, that thing that I saw the other week is exactly what's happening.
but you can have parameters in your jury selection that say we're looking for people that don't use TikTok. You get what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah,
how they get that one. If you didn't include it, then that sucks to be you, right? Yeah,
yeah,
I
but
want
I see it as a vector anyway for what would you call it, a populist populist power.
so it's fruit of the
Pop.
poison tree. That's the way you'd say it, right? If you could prove any one of these jury watched a TikTok video, if you could prove a video exists on TikTok and get them to say they watch TikTok, then you can say fruit of the poison tree. You were biased. You infringed on jury duty and you allowed yourself to be biased to TikTok.
I'm talking about intentionally biasing them.
Oh, I get where you're going with this. Yeah. I get where you're going with this. It's the same thing. I really like these little stupid ones. The device they give you evidence on.
Yeah,
They're going to give you a USB when you ask for evidence, right?
yeah,
They are. I've gotten two. Yet you can't give them a USB.
double standards, always.
Double standards. Why? Because it could be a backdoor program. So then why would you not expect their USB to be a backdoor program? You get what I'm saying?
Well, I know. I mean, when I get my USBs, I'm definitely going to let some
Public libraries.
computer
Take
science
them to the
people look
public
at.
library,
Okay.
plug them in there. View your evidence in the public library computer.
Yeah, extract it, email it, or Google Drive it to yourself.
Well, dirty USBs for sure. Dirty anything, dirty phone cords, dirty, dirty non. Let me go back to that one. Non-surgical neurotechnology.
Yeah. Well, I
You
mean, I
know,
didn't have one of
uh,
those somewhere around here. Where'd that go?
I mean, your phone literally it's in your pocket all day. It knows your normal cycles, and it
Well,
knows when those cycles are different, and it
and then
knows when those cycles.
and then there's that thing.
Yeah, that thing right there. Yeah, that thing. That's a cool thing right there.
Yeah, it's definitely something I've kind of dabbled with and just let run in the background and kind of forgot about it. But I've found that it is intensely more effective when you are paying attention to it and are changing it up every few
Woo.
minutes.
Intense. I like the word you used. I was there once. I remember it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're gonna if we get this weather cleared up in the playground, it seems like it's a more than a daytime thing, then we'll play with it some more. It doesn't need much power.
See, now check this out. I'm going to describe this next generation non-surgical neurotechnology, okay?
Yeah,
Because this is based on the Lift AV 2.2, okay, next generation fixed wing helmet used in the Air Force for eye tracking and head tracking technology. That way you can be in your plane and you can look at the plane over here and it will auto assist you to aim against that plane. Okay. Now, the reason I'm saying this, while the current standard does not rely on thought control, DARPA is actively developing the next generation non surgical neurotechnology N3 program to create helmets that theoretically allow pilots to execute complex maneuvers of fire weapons via brain computer interfaces without surgical implants. Okay. This experimental technology aims to interpret brain waves to perform tasks in nanoseconds. Okay. Your phone, it already knows what your regular thinking is. Even if it doesn't know what those fluctuations in your magnetic field mean, it knows what they mean. Okay. You don't have to know what thought they're having to know that the fluctuation in that part of their magnetic field implies.
yeah. A limited range of possibilities, and depending on how much activity it's monitoring throughout the brain, it could correlate and narrow it down. And yeah,
Well, also how much activity it monitors for your surroundings.
yeah,
It might already know you're in an intense situation when you're in an intense situation, and it might know why you're in an intense situation before you comprehend it. Your phone might know that you're being about to be shot before you do. You know, it really might.
I mean,
It's literally designed to pick up these fluctuations. Now, one day you're talking with somebody, you're having a social interaction, and you're talking about a product. Everybody says, my phone listens to me and it sells me that product. Well, the only reason it sold you that product is because the intensity of your magnetic fluctuation while you were having the social interaction, while the audio accompanied
yeah,
that product.
that makes sense. It's gauging emotional involvement.
Yeah, so next time you're down the road and you have this, oh, they had a thought about a thing. And that's why sometimes the algorithms are wrong. You open it up, they're selling me an ad. It ain't what I was thinking because I didn't verbalize it, but it's because it caught the fluctuation.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how sensitive they're getting. But it's also interesting how no matter how sensitive they get, there's still enough random and variability in biology that they can't get it right every time.
Limited to one lens.
Yeah,
So your phone doesn't have all the data, but all the phones together have all the data, just like all humanity. So when you look at it as a whole organism and your pieces of the organism, it does have omnipotency.
now you might want to get a flip phone.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a device that all it does is call and text.
Yeah,
That's all it does. This literally is Saturn worship. These black screens.
yeah, yeah.
We thought it was cool when they gave us the song and dance with their Apollo and Artemis.
Time to change the shape up, at least.
So literally though, why would you invoke the name of a dead god and give glory to that dead god? Especially if the god is false god, right?
Yeah,
You know, these names, they mean stuff. Every project, even some of these computer programs, you'll find a lot of computer programs are named these nefarious names, even if you don't think it's nefarious.
Well, and not even necessarily in the names, but in the logos. A lot of the logos of a lot of these companies are sigils for different things. Like Google Play Store, I believe, is like this is one of Lucifer sigils.
The idea of Lucifer,
Yeah.
the ideology that the victors sold you about Lucifer was, what Lucifer was. I mean, you can't really root for the good guy. So I'll tell you why it gets confusing. Throughout all history, we don't make historical accounts of good guys. We sell bad guys as good guys. So throughout all history, there's no such thing as a good guy. Now, when it comes to bad guys, you're either really a good guy that we don't mention, or you were one of the good guys that has been caught. You get what I'm saying? There's
Yep.
there's a lot of good guys. Everybody's a good guy. They're all good guys. It's just if you get caught or not. I mean, that's if you get caught being a good guy, a real good guy, you're a bad guy, condemned historically.
Yep.
If you were a good guy who got caught being a bad guy, then you were always a bad guy. Like you get what I'm saying? Those are the only two options for bad guys.
Yeah, and it's sort of asinine and divisive and deceptive because I mean, I've found that as you do elevate your frequency and vibration, and it pushes, you know, certain people and certain possibilities out of your field, the new people and possibilities that come in also come with a much higher level of temptation. So it's like you can be a good guy, and the farther up in the good you get, the more opportunities and the more just nefarious shit is also going to fall in your lap you know to bite that fucking apple or however you want to phrase it.
So that's like mating, okay? Because they say that opposites attract, right? And then they combine and then they neutralize and then there's nothing. Then we have nothing. Nothing exists. But in all reality, opposites attract and then they come together and then they hit a balance and then they repel. So what it is literally the higher up, you know, there's a greater distance between being good and bad. The more good you are, you know what I'm saying? So there's more gravity to try to pull you to the opposite polarity. There's more force. Like you get what I'm saying.
Oh
The
yeah.
the the ten the temptation definitely would be way more. You know, check this out. You're doing everything according to what they taught you to do. You're going to heaven. You do it. You do it. You do it. And right at the end, you think of boobs. Is that fair? Is
Uh,
that fair? There was a comedy skit about that. It was pretty
no, I was gonna say that could make some good content for sure.
good. Widest kids you know, man. They got some funny stuff. They follow after Monty Python.
No,
I
good.
really like I really like Monty Python's idea that people aren't wearing enough hats. And Widest kids you know followed in that pursuit. And they made a rock song called God Wants You to Wear Hats. If you aren't wearing a hat, are you even a real religion?
Well, there's some layers to what wearing a hat even means too. Like it's beautiful.
Hey, yeah, it could be a hockey puck. It could be a giant hockey puck. Look, you can even wrap your head in a sheet and make yourself look like a ninja's ghost.
I mean, it could be a persona. Like that's how that kind of came through to me is are you trying on enough different personalities and personas and different traits and characteristics to be able to fucking find your devotion and to decide, oh, this is true because I've tried all these things and this is what actually fucking works.
Now, I'm kind of interested. I just had this thought. What kind of magnetic manipulation do you think therapists attempt to use in their offices to set an environment?
I mean,
Right?
probably a lot of the same ones that masseuses use and probably even into the dentist and medical fields and Like I mean, even your background music is a way to kind of coerce into compliance, and depending on where you're at with your intent, like that can be for the better or worse.
Well, I'm talking, so it would literally be, if I had to think about it, I don't think it's as simple as a color or a shape. I think it's a structure thing. Like when
Yeah.
the court has three tiers in the black robes. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be some kind of, I mean, they all have a chair that leans back, right? I mean, they probably don't all have a chair that leans back. That's stereotypical of a
Well,
mind rapist.
well, I don't know, but I do know that there's a growing number of them that are oriented with the off compass directions rather than, aligned with the compass directions in their off squaring.
Well, my concern with all that is this. How do they pull it? What is their template? What is the template for a normal, healthy, sane mind? Right? Do they even fit in those parameters? I mean, you really like to have control over mental states. Are you sure you're the one who should be in control of mental states? If you have a fascination about mental states,
Well, are you
like
sure? Are you sure you're even in control of yours?
sometimes I like to think I am.
Yeah.
Sometimes I definitely know I'm not. But most of the times when you realize you are, you remember that you didn't know you were in when you weren't. It's like
Yeah.
driving down the road. You're like, oh shit, where was I the last 30 seconds?
Oh, you got 30 seconds, dude, 6 hours sometimes. I'm just like, holy cow, that was fast. What happened to that?
Well, I ride motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
And I'm never going to let anybody stop me from taking a 30-minute ride because those next 2 hours might be the best 5 hours of my life.
Fair. All right, sir. We got anything else or?
Nah, I think we're going back to redundancy and things like that. I think I hit all the little topics. It's actually, I don't think I did. I wanted to get on how through relationships you're actually manipulated. I kind of touched on it, but how the magnetic fields can actually manipulate you through relationships. I kind of touched on the data stored in these magnetic fields, but that's all right. I couldn't articulate it well enough. We had a good one. I do think that it's important we still do these.
Yeah, me too.
It's a philosophy channel.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, we'll like we get to back to the regularity. I think we'll get more people involved. Like I said, like today was just like I didn't even know until like 7:30 what time I was gonna be able to pull it off, and so that probably excluded a lot of participation that could have been here.
Well,
Whatever.
hey, I'm glad we did it though.
Yeah, me too. This is
In
a very
3 weeks.
this is a very good one.
So hell yeah. I look forward to the next. I don't expect it to be next week. Things are crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I
But we
think
should, we'll make point to try when we can.
yeah. I think maybe every other week might be the better standard, and I think we need to try and have it figured out a couple days in advance so that we can get the participation a little bit more on point because I know a lot of people would love to be in on these.
Well, and I'll get so today was actually a little better because I had reference material. It's not just me spewing.
Yeah, yeah. That helps.
Sometimes me, yeah.